In the vast, echoing chambers of time, etched into the very bedrock of human memory and sacred texts, lies a name whispered with reverence, wonder, and a subtle, unsettling dread: Methuselah. For millennia, his identity has been distilled to a single, extraordinary, almost unbelievable fact. He lived longer than any human recorded, 969 years, a lifespan that defies belief, a number that seems less like biology and more like myth, or perhaps a carefully encoded message. But what if that extraordinary age wasn't just a biological marvel, a simple footnote in a dusty genealogy? What if the longest life ever lived wasn't just a tale of incredible longevity, but a dark prophecy, a divine countdown, a ticking clock meticulously marking the final moments before the utter devastation of a world? Today, we are not simply telling a story. We are embarking on an archaeological expedition of the soul, peeling back the veil of history, venturing into the shadowed corners of ancient lore to uncover the true cinematic saga of Methuselah. This isn't just about an old man and his incredible age. This is about a figure intrinsically entwined with divine judgment, apocalyptic lineage, forbidden knowledge, and the chilling possibility that he was far more than mere human. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew. Let's begin our journey by grounding ourselves in the familiar, though often overlooked, biblical accounts. Methuselah's presence in the canonical texts is starkly minimalist, almost ghostly. His name appears in the genealogies of Genesis chapter 5, repeated in 1 Chronicles chapter 1, and even finds its way into the lineage of Jesus in Luke chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 5, though not mentioning him directly, speaks of his father Enoch, whose unique relationship with God profoundly shapes our understanding of Methuselah. His basic profile is clear. Name Methuselah, father Enoch, the one who walked with God and was no more, son Lamech, grandson Noah. Lifespan, an astounding 969 years, the longest of any human recorded in the Bible. But the most profound secret is encoded within his very name. While often interpreted as man of the dart, perhaps a warrior or one swift in action, a far more ominous and deeply significant translation has resonated through history: his death shall bring. Imagine the weight of such a name. Enoch, a prophet so attuned to the divine that he transcended mortality, names his son not with a wish for prosperity or strength, but with a dire prophecy. Was it a premonition? A divine whisper woven into the very fabric of his child's identity, a warning to a world spiraling into corruption? Here is the truly shocking revelation, the fact that transforms Methuselah from a mere historical footnote into a central figure of cosmic, apocalyptic drama. The year Methuselah died is the exact same year the Great Flood began, Genesis chapter 7, verse 6. Let that seismic truth sink in. His passing wasn't a coincidence, it was a cosmic trigger. His life, a meticulous divine countdown. For many ancient Jewish scholars and rabbinical commentators, Methuselah was, quite literally, a walking doomsday clock. His prolonged existence, his near-millennial life, was understood as humanity's grace period, a testament to God's immense, boundless patience. But the moment his last breath left him, that divine patience, stretched to its absolute limit, finally ran out. His death wasn't merely the end of a long life, it was the unmistakable signal for the world's cleansing and renewal through catastrophic judgment. This profound connection forces us to reconsider Methuselah not just as an old guy, but as a towering symbol of divine mercy stretching to its absolute threshold, a silent, living herald of the coming apocalypse. And yet, despite this monumental significance, Methuselah has no spoken lines, no recorded actions, no moral commentary attributed to him in the canonical Bible. Only numbers. This profound silence is deafening. It begs a monumental, even more intriguing question. If his death was such a pivotal event, a prophetic sign known even from his naming, then what else did Methuselah know? What forbidden secrets did he carry? And why has his true, monumental significance been so deliberately overlooked, perhaps even suppressed for millennia? To unlock the deeper, more profound mysteries surrounding Methuselah, we must step beyond the familiar, curated pages of the biblical canon. and venture into the captivating, often controversial realm of ancient texts like the Book of Enoch, specifically 1st Enoch. This ancient, non-canonical work, while not accepted into the mainstream biblical canon by all traditions, is nevertheless revered as sacred and authoritative in others, notably the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. If you're interested in a deep dive into the Ethiopian Bible, click the link above or in the description, and within its cryptic verses, Methuselah's role expands dramatically, revealing him as far more than just a man who lived long. In the Book of Enoch, we discover that before his miraculous ascension to heaven, a divine act that snatched him from the mortal coil before he ever knew death, Enoch, the prophet who walked with God, entrusted his son Methuselah with revelations so profound, so dangerous, that they promised to reshape the very understanding of the cosmos. For all the books mentioned in this video, there will be links in the description. Methuselah was not merely given stories or prophecies, he was given knowledge, intricate, chilling details of the impending global flood that would cleanse the earth. He learned the dark, primordial saga of the fallen angels, the Watchers, who descended from the heavens, took human wives, and taught humanity forbidden arts, sorcery, metallurgy, warfare, corrupting the very fabric of early civilization. He was privy to the secrets of their monstrous giant offspring, the Nephilim, whose violent reign plunged the world into depravity. And, astonishingly, he was given insights into the intricate structure of the heavens and hell, the cosmic geography of the spiritual realms, and even glimpses of intricate messianic prophecies yet to unfold. Through Enoch, Methuselah became the original keeper of forbidden divine knowledge, burdened with a sacred, terrifying trust. He was chosen to preserve God's judgment and instruction, not through spoken sermons or public declarations, but through the silent, meticulous guardianship of these ancient, powerful, and potentially dangerous texts. He transformed into a proto-prophet, a quiet, watchful observer burdened with catastrophic truths, holding the very secrets that would dictate the fate of the world. He was the silent librarian of the apocalypse, guarding the blueprints of divine wrath. Now, we plunge into the truly audacious, the theories whispered in the fringes of ancient mysticism and certain Gnostic Christian sects. Was Methuselah more than human? His impossible age, 969 years, transcends not only human norms but even the lifespans of his own patriarchs. For these mystics, it isn't just an anomaly, it's a signature of something profoundly other. It's a number that screams for an explanation beyond mere longevity. Consider the possibilities that send shivers down the spine of conventional theology. Part angel? Enoch, Methuselah's father, had such an intimate connection with the divine that he transcended mortality, being taken by God. Could a fragment of that celestial energy, a spark of the angelic, have been passed down? Some mystics speculate that Methuselah's very conception might have been influenced by divine or angelic forces, imbuing him with a spiritual or even a genetic constitution far beyond that of typical humanity. This would offer a profound explanation for his near-millennial existence, a being touched by heaven yet still bound to earth, a bridge between two realms, a remnant of the Nephilim. This is perhaps the most unsettling idea, intertwining Methuselah with the dark mythology of the pre-flood world. We know from the Book of Enoch and Genesis chapter 6 that before the flood, the sons of God, often identified as fallen angels, the Watchers, mated with human women, giving rise to the Nephilim, mighty, monstrous beings, men of renown, born of forbidden unions. Methuselah lived during this very era, a time rife with rampant genetic mingling and supernatural corruption. What if he carried a diluted yet still potent echo of that forbidden Nephilim bloodline? Not necessarily a giant himself, but perhaps inheriting their extended lifespans, their inherent otherness, their resilience, which set them apart from pure humanity. This would make him a living artifact of a corrupted pre-flood world, a silent testament to transgressive unions and the consequences of angelic rebellion. A result of divine experimentation. The most controversial whisper suggests a deliberate, perhaps even a desperate act of celestial creation or intervention. What if Methuselah's unique, impossibly long constitution was the outcome of a divine experiment before the flood? a purposeful design to create a being capable of bearing immense prophetic burdens, a living reservoir for the secrets Enoch bestowed upon him, or to preserve a specific lineage with elevated spiritual capacity, a safeguard against the coming deluge. In this terrifying light, his extreme age wouldn't be random. It would be a precise, intentional design, hinting at celestial intervention and manipulation on a scale we can barely comprehend, a silent testament to a cosmic struggle for the fate of humanity. These profound and unsettling theories attempt to resolve a perplexing paradox surrounding Methuselah's existence. He lived for 969 years, a lifespan far too perfect, too precise, too long to be merely natural longevity. Yet, unlike his father Enoch, he was not taken up to heaven. He died a mortal death, interred in the earth. He was extraordinary, bordering on the supernatural, but not immortal in the way of angels or ascended beings. This makes him a being caught between worlds, existing in a strange liminal space, too long-lived for typical humanity, but not divine enough for ultimate ascension. Furthermore, he didn't die in the flood, but precisely before it. His life ended the very year the waters came. If he was pure human, why such an incredibly precise and profound timing of death? If he was fully divine, why not ascend earlier or simply pass through the flood unscathed like an angel? His death, at the very precipice of global judgment, almost feels like the deactivation or termination of a specific pre-flood program or lineage, a perfectly timed conclusion to his unique role. The whispers about Methuselah extend even further into the fragments of ancient history. The Qumran texts, including profound fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls, offer tantalizing glimpses into how Methuselah was viewed in certain Second Temple Jewish communities. These scrolls contain genealogical writings and pseudepigraphal texts that hint at an elevated role for Methuselah beyond the biblical silence. The Genesis Apocryphon, one of the most significant scrolls found at Qumran, for instance, hints at Methuselah being a scribe of divine records. This aligns perfectly with the Book of Enoch's portrayal of him as the keeper of forbidden texts. It suggests that his longevity wasn't merely survival, but a necessary duration to fulfill a sacred scribal duty, meticulously recording the unfolding of divine judgments and prophecies. Some traditions even suggest he advised Noah during the preparation for the ark, perhaps even helping to preserve vital parts of Enoch's writings or other sacred knowledge before the flood's destructive arrival. Imagine the wisdom passed down, the guidance offered by a being who had lived nearly a millennium, observing the slow decay of humanity and holding the very secrets of its impending doom. Adding to the intrigue, ancient writings occasionally reference a now lost text, the Book of Methuselah. This elusive work, if it ever existed, might have contained teachings on judgment, the nature of angels, divine law, and perhaps even further details about the pre-flood world. The very idea that such a book, potentially holding profound revelations, has vanished from history, fuels the notion that Methuselah's full story and the knowledge he possessed was deliberately suppressed or lost. And then there's the truly audacious, the forgotten Messiah theory, a highly controversial concept whispered in fringe Christian and Gnostic circles. This theory proposes that Methuselah was once seen as a messianic archetype, a forerunner not only to Noah but even to Jesus Christ. His birth was considered miraculous, occurring after Enoch's transformation. He carried immense divine knowledge, and his death preceded not just judgment, but the salvation that came through Noah's ark. In some alternate mystical views, Methuselah is posited as the shadow Messiah, the figure who carries the burden of judgment and sacrifice, so that the true Savior, Noah for the physical world, and later Christ for the spiritual, could bring renewal. It's a mind-bending concept that completely reshapes his significance, making him a necessary, albeit forgotten, part of the divine plan for redemption. Even within mainstream Jewish tradition, through the rich tapestry of midrash and rabbinical commentary, Methuselah is afforded a reverence that goes beyond mere genealogical record. He was considered an exceptionally righteous man, a pillar of virtue in a rapidly decaying world. In one profound midrash, it is taught that Methuselah's virtue was so immense, so pleasing to God, that it literally postponed the flood for an additional 7 days after his death. God, in his infinite mercy, waited for the mourning period of this righteous man to conclude before unleashing the waters of judgment. His funeral, according to some rabbis, lasted a full week, a testament to his immense spiritual standing and a final, desperate delaying of God's wrath. Another rabbinical teaching suggests that, much like his father Enoch, Methuselah actively warned the people of the coming judgment. But tragically, they scoffed, they laughed. They dismissed his longevity as a strange quirk, his warnings as the ravings of an ancient eccentric. Their blindness, their arrogance, sealed their fate. Given the sheer depth of his significance, the profound implications of his life and death, the question remains, why is Methuselah so rarely depicted in popular Christian teachings? Why is his story so often stripped down to just a lifespan, relegated to a mere footnote in a biblical genealogy? Perhaps it's a matter of uncomfortable implications, the idea that someone knew about a global flood decades, even centuries, in advance. The notion that secret, heavenly knowledge was passed down through a specific, protected human lineage, hinting at divine favoritism or a select few. The chilling thought that God provided a clear, undeniable countdown, a living, breathing timer, that humanity, in its arrogance, completely ignored. These implications are staggering, challenging our understanding of divine mercy, human accountability, and the very nature of hidden truths within sacred texts. To truly engage with Methuselah's full story is to acknowledge a more complex, a more mysterious, a more unnerving narrative of creation, corruption, and judgment. It demands that we look beyond the surface into the deep currents of ancient wisdom. So, Methuselah stands as a profound theological symbol: mercy before wrath, knowledge before destruction, judgment hidden in plain sight. His incredibly long life was a testament to God's boundless patience, a final, generous extension of grace. And his death, the precise moment it occurred, was the stark, undeniable signal of final, decisive judgment. He was the silent prophet, the living countdown, a figure whose true, monumental story has been buried under centuries of silence and selective memory. What if the man who lived the longest also carried the heaviest secret? What if his death wasn't just an end, but the ultimate beginning, the herald of a world washed clean? The truth about Methuselah, the silent prophet, the living countdown, the potential more than human guardian of forbidden knowledge, remains one of the most compelling and unsettling mysteries of ancient history. His story challenges us to see beyond the obvious, to listen for the whispers of forgotten ages, and to ask, what other truths lie buried, waiting to be unearthed? If you enjoy this type of video where we unravel ancient secrets and mysteries, then make sure to check out our video on the intriguing Book of Jubilees, where the real reason why Cain killed Abel is revealed. Did this deep dive into ancient mysteries captivate your imagination? If so, please consider showing your support, like this video, to help us reach more seekers of hidden truths. Share it with anyone who you think would be fascinated by Methuselah's untold story. And most importantly, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the enigmatic past. Your engagement fuels our quest for ancient knowledge.